It is late October, there are not a lot of good weather days left in the year, so I decided to do a 110 kilometer bike ride around Chicago. The route looks something like this. I started in West Loop and headed west and caught the river trail south of O'Hare. I rode it north up to Northbrook and then headed east over to Evanston and then headed south back down into the city. Here I am getting on the trailhead. I don't have any footage of the ride from West Loop to the trailhead. I accidentally shot it all in vertical, and it was only when I got on the trailhead that I realized and flipped the camera around. I'm new to this. This was my first time filming with a GoPro. I was actually using an Insta360 camera, so this was a learning experience. I was very surprised how beautiful this is. It's in a relatively suburban location. It's not that far away from the city, but look at how beautiful this is. This time of year with the autumn colors in full view, it's just incredible. At one point, I came up to this cool-looking bridge. It looks relatively new. They must have just finished it, and it goes over this really busy road, so I was glad I didn't have to cross that road. Here's another bit where the trees just look incredible, and there's this wooden walkway they built. I have no idea why, but it's cool, and it's different. This section wasn't as much fun. It was right next to this really busy road, and the cars were really loud. You can hear them in the background. On the right is a rather hideous suburban office park. I worked in an office park that was even uglier than this for 4 years, and I hated it. I was so glad to take a job in the city and get out of the suburbs. Why do they still build these? Do people want to work here? Now I'm back in the woods here. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this was filmed at a different time of year, because if it weren't for the leaves on the floor, you might think it's summer, because the leaves on the trees here haven't really changed. I find that really interesting that across very short geographic distances, you'll see quite a wide variation in the color of the trees. is just incredible. Look at those trees, they're so beautiful. I switched the angle here so you could see my bike. This is my Surly Bridge Club. This is not a stock build. I bought it as a frame and fork and built it up the way I wanted because I didn't like the standard build that Surly does. The river trail runs up north, pretty much all the way to the border with Wisconsin, but it is not continuous the entire way. This is one of the road sections where I'm riding in this bike lane here. I quite like these sections because it's something different and it keeps things interesting. My camera battery died and it took a while to recharge, so we pick up here about an hour or two later. This is in Northbrook, right next to a kind of busy road, but thankfully there is this two-way cycle path. At some point the cycle path ended, so I had to ride through these somewhat busy suburban streets. Normally I would really try and avoid that, but because there was construction, there was a lot of traffic, which meant cars were moving slowly, so it wasn't an issue. And I actually had some fun doing this. It was like weaving in and out between cars. It was kind of like riding in the city. Now we pick up in Evanston. At one point I crossed a street and it totally changed. I think that must have been the line between Skokie and Evanston, because we went from these rather ugly suburban homes to these beautiful historic homes on these tree-lined streets. Evanston is such a beautiful city. Here's another street where the homes are just incredible. Every single one of these homes must have cost multiple millions of dollars, and you can understand why, because it's such a beautiful street. clips I recorded on the ride, because on the left is an elementary school. Look at how beautiful that building is. What kid wouldn't want to go to school in a building like that? Why doesn't every elementary school look like this? This is the last clip I recorded before the battery in my camera died. This is in River North, so it is at the very end of the ride. This never gets old, riding past a line of cars. Look at all these idiots sitting here in traffic. Ride a bike, man. I'm going to finish off the video with a quick look at my bike. I think at some point in the future I'll do a full explanation of all the parts I used to build it up, because I am rather proud of it, but for now I'll leave it with this.